So today I purchased The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt, for a second time. I finally bought the game on PC, and in case you didn't know, it's on Steam right now, the Game of the Year edition, with both of the DLCs that released for just $20. That's a hell of a deal. It is about a 50 gigabyte download when things are all said and done, so I figured in the hour it's going to take for the game to download, I'd talk a little bit about why The Witcher 3 is such an incredibly special RPG, such an incredibly special video game experience, not just for myself, but I believe for so many others. Now, I've got several hundred hours into The Witcher 3 back on my Xbox One save, yet I haven't finished the game and I haven't brought myself to even purchase both of the DLCs, no matter how high praise they were. It's not that I didn't want to keep playing or that I tired or was bored of the game. It's not that I thought the DLCs were poorly received. I know they were fantastically well received, and I've been told numerous times by so many people that they're absolute must-plays for any RPG fan, and especially for a Witcher fan like myself. The reason I haven't been able to bring myself to finish The Witcher 3 is simply because it's a journey that I don't want to see to the end. The reason I don't want to see it to the end is because I don't want it to end. I want my adventure, my experiences with Geralt to go on forever, and if I don't finish the game, and if I don't wrap things up with the 2 DLCs, well then Geralt exists, back in his own little world, and I can revisit him and continue that journey right where I left off at any given time for the rest of my life. As long as I own a copy of the game and can play it on whatever platform is available, Geralt's adventure, my relationship with Geralt, my being Geralt, if you will, and the relationship I have with characters like Triss Merigold will simply never come to a true end. You just want it to hang there in perfection for as long as it possibly can. It's something I did with Half-Life 2 Episode 2, and it wasn't until 2 years ago that I actually finished Episode 2 and found myself in the position that many others found themselves in, wondering what the hell was going to happen next with Gordon Freeman and the rest of the characters that I had fallen so deeply in love with. It's a position that I don't want to put myself in with The Witcher 3, more importantly because I believe wrapping up the DLCs would actually bring a full circle end to Geralt's adventure, and then I'd have to sit there and think on the fact that he's gone. Of course, I could go back and play the game over, but we all know it's not the same once it's said and done. And starting a new game, the back of your head, you'll slowly feel something nagging away, reminding you just how his adventure ended, and things just won't be quite the same as I ride through the forest on Roach, engage in combat, die again, and explore new location after new location, open up breadcrumb trail after breadcrumb trail of massively expansive side quests and side missions. The Witcher 3 is just such an emotional journey from start to finish, and it has to do with the immensity of every single nuance, every single piece and portion and bit and bob of its game design. If we want to talk technicalities, The Witcher 3 is not flawless. CD Projekt has admitted many times to bugs that simply exist, that, well, you can't eliminate all the bugs in such a massive world, and they've always embraced that and felt the bugs often provide a small layer of comedy or humor in an experience that has plenty of its own comedy and humor. But if you asked me what I thought was one of the most flawlessly executed video games of all time, not just an RPG, games in general, The Witcher 3 would be right at the top of that list, if not the number one game that I would then hand over to you and say, that's my pick, The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt. From the moment you boot up The Witcher 3, from the moment you wind your way through that tightly knit path in the middle of a forest on horseback, everything just feels so organic. As if no one at CD Projekt could have actually crafted this world. It's as if it existed and they merely found a way to adapt it to digital so we could experience it. Like they pulled it out of a rabbit's hat that they found through a portal somewhere hidden in their basement in Poland and decided to claim it as their own idea. Let's make this piece of magic, this story, this world, a video game for everyone to experience, and we'll never let them know the secrets behind it. They'll think that we made it from scratch. It's truly that magical. And to make a character like Geralt, a character that you play as a player who has his own personality, who makes many of his own decisions and dialogue, to make him feel so connected and so grounded and so emotionally aligned with a player, it's an accomplishment within itself. How many games can you think of that go the route of giving a fully voiced character within an RPG that you actually end up developing a relationship with that character. It's not an easy thing to do, and we probably all have our own games, and of course not everyone's going to feel the same about Geralt, but I think many people do, and that's what made the game so special. I mean, the only other instance where I can think that I'm so emotionally and so powerfully attached or aligned to a character and to their mission and their journey and their decisions and their personality and their thought processes are games where the protagonists are completely silent, like Legend of Zelda, like Half-Life. Gordon Freeman doesn't say a peep, and something about that, being in his skin, just always made me fall in love with that character. So to be able to take Geralt in a third-person game nonetheless, where you're constantly seeing the character before you, where he's constantly making interactions, and while you do have a lot of personal player choice, I think that has a huge part in it. And again, to develop that relationship with the player, that is staggering. That is staggeringly powerful stuff that simply cannot be denied. And I think The Witcher 3, as much as it's already been praised, is a game that will go down in history as just being pure legend. It's a game that many of us in this smaller, tight-knit crowd who never shut up about it will never shut up about it. We'll be talking about it for hundreds of years to come, hopefully. And when CD Projekt unveils their next massive thing, and hopefully it's as special as The Witcher 3, we'll look back and we'll just say, what sort of beings are they over there at CD Projekt? What sort of gods? What sort of mystical beings have the power to create such fantastical and such wonderfully powerful worlds that we simply cannot get enough of? I really, and I do this every now and then, ask you to do yourself a huge favor as an RPG fan, as someone who likes stories, who likes interacting with powerful characters and powerful tales of adventure and any other useful adjective you can think of, to pick up The Witcher 3 and play it if you already haven't. If there's one game that you should play this fall, this holiday season, with all these new releases pushed aside, forget Assassin's Creed Origins, hell, even forget Wolfenstein 2, put all those games to next year. Do yourself a favor, pick up a copy of The Witcher 3 while it's on sale, whatever platform you happen to be on, grab yourself the DLCs, and dedicate some serious time to this experience. It's not even going to be about finishing it. I'm not going to ask you to sit down and play The Witcher 3 to the end. That's what makes it so special. It's a game that you can play for just 20 or 30 hours and get 20% of the way into, and I think if there's anything there that's going to grab you like it's grabbed me and so many others, it will do that within the first 5 to 6 hours. And if you never finish The Witcher 3 for the rest of your life, that'll be okay. It's one of those few experiences that you don't need to complete to get the most out of it. Just being a part of the world for even a brief period of time, I think, is enough to help people understand why the game is so special, and to allow you to gather those same experiences that I and many others have gathered that make us sit down and make videos just like this. So maybe one day I'll finish The Witcher 3, but unfortunately I just bought it on PC, which means I need to start all over again. And you know what? I'm 1000% okay with that. And I'm going to take my time just like I always have. An hour there, an hour here, explore an island endlessly, explore another island endlessly, maybe complete an entire zone before I move on this time, but probably not. Who really knows? The fantastic thing about The Witcher 3 is I never felt compelled to complete anything. I only felt compelled to do what I wanted to do, to be a part of this organic experience, and to be one with Geralt, to follow him on his journey wherever that took us. If it was a small hut that we saw through the forest, or an interesting piece of building or architecture that was just around the bend in Skellig, it doesn't matter. There's just always something pulling you in a different direction. And that something is never something that ever feels like it's a part of a traditional game. It is something that always feels absolutely organic. It's as if you went to a new place for the very first time. Maybe you traveled to Abu Dhabi, completely exotic. You live in North America, you go to Abu Dhabi for the very first time, and rather than sitting there with a tourist map and going from checkpoint to checkpoint, you just look at what catches your eye. That building, that beach, that car lot, that storefront, and you just go with it. That's The Witcher 3 for me in a nutshell. And it's why it is wholeheartedly one of the most incredible video game experiences I've ever had in my entire life. I want to look back, and I have a lot of emotions tied to my time with Legend of Zelda early days, with Mass Effect and KOTOR. But The Witcher 3, not just because of its recent, how recent it is, its relevancy in time, really does manage to trump all of those things for me. And I think it all comes back to the fact that it's a game I haven't finished. It's a game that I don't really want to finish. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're a Witcher fan, I'd love to hear what your connection to The Witcher 3 has always been. Why is the game so powerful for you? And if you haven't played it, really, I cannot recommend it enough. You're doing yourself a huge disservice to not at least give this game a go and see if you can develop that same emotional connection that so many of us have developed. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, remember to play smart, remember to play to challenge yourself, but most importantly, remember to play for fun.